It was the moment that shocked the world. This tree gave Sycamore Gap its name. A worldwide icon, defining the landscape at the centre point of Hadrian's Wall in the furthest reaches of northern England.
Azim the Great One! I am home!
The tree was the star of a blockbuster movie.
Look! Mistletoe!
And a photographer's favourite. But in September 2023, best friends Adam Carruthers and Daniel Graham took it upon themselves to destroy it.
It's hard to find words for it, really. I've known it all my life and worked with it most of my working career, and it was, quite upsetting to see, really.
Why? That's what I want to know, why. Just to try and make sense of it.
What was the purpose of felling a tree? A beautiful tree that everybody loved.
This is the story of what prosecutors called the Moronic mission, to fell this iconic tree, shocking the world and devastating those who loved it.
The first time I ever went up by myself. You come to where the gap is and you take the drop down. It was like calming feeling that came over you. There's not many places where you can go where you can just be in your own head to be able to just work out what I was thinking and what was going on in my head. My name's Johnston. I live in Hexham. Back in 2009, I was assaulted with a hammer. There was a group of people that came to my front door and attacked me with a hammer, and it just threw my life up in the air. After the hammer attack, the mental scarring, the fear that someone could just come to your house and do that was quite terrifying. It affected my day-to-day life, it affected my job. I had signs of PTSD. I had done 10 years where I had struggled to deal with the day-to-day issues that were coming up. And I started taking pictures with my mobile phone. And I went from there to going up Sycamore Gap deliberately just to take the photos. I wanted to take these pictures, but at the same time I could sit at Sycamore Gap for hours, and it was like, it didn't matter if there was 1,000 people there or you were by yourself. It was so peaceful and calming. And I found that was the place that was the kickstart to me reclaiming my mental health and me getting back on my feet.
On the evening of September the 27th, 2023, that tree, which meant so much to Lee and to so many others, was captured on camera for the final time. The next morning, the world woke up to the news that this tree had been deliberately chopped down. It had stood here since the late 1800s, defining this landscape for around 150 years. But the act of destroying it took just over 150 seconds. That's 2.5 minutes. On the night the tree was felled, Daniel Graham's car was caught on CCTV at 5 to midnight, miles from their homes in Cumbria, close to Sycamore Gap. The Range Rover was driven to the Steel Rig car park, where the pair got out a chainsaw and set off on what was described in court as their moronic mission. After a 20-minute walk, they sprayed silver paint around the tree's trunk, marking the line where the cut would be made. And at just after midnight, as one of the pair started to saw, the other began to film. Incredibly capturing themselves committing the crime on Daniel Graham's mobile phone. They cut a wedge out of the tree ensuring that as it fell, it would land on Hadrian's wall. And then, just 2.5 minutes after they began, the moment of destruction. Less than half an hour later, the pair were again caught on CCTV driving away from the scene. As they drove, Adam Carruthers' girlfriend sent him a video of his newborn daughter being bottle-fed. Carruthers sent her a reply boasting, "I've got a better video than that." A few minutes later, the video of the tree being felled was sent from Graham's phone to Carruthers. Meanwhile, in the boot of Graham's car was the chainsaw they'd used and a trophy, the wedge of the tree. The next morning, police arrived on the scene.
If you could just clear back a tad, just a touch, just out of this main sort of area here, just so we can gather as much evidence as we can. Okay, thank you very much.
The fact that the tree had not just fallen, but been deliberately felled, shocking the whole world.
Англичане в шоке. Легендарного...
Del árbol ya solo quedan el tocón.
As the story travelled around the globe, the pair sent voice notes to one another.
The towering sycamore, known as Robin Hood's tree,
was destroyed overnight.
Discussing the outrage being shared on social media and in the news.
News. I think it's going to go wild.
It's gone viral. It is worldwide. It will be on ITV News tonight.
The men taking offence when one Facebook user said those who had felled the tree were weak.
Weak. Do you realise how heavy it is?
I'd like to see launch an operation like we did last night.
If that phrase, an operation like we did last night, sounds like an admission, it's for good reason. It was, the jury decided, exactly that, finding Adam Carruthers and Daniel Graham guilty of this mindless act of vandalism.
Why? That's what I want to know, why. Just to try and make sense of it.
It's just really selfish and quite disgusting, really. I don't know why they would do it.
It's absolutely so upsetting, and so, what would go through their mind to do something like that for no reason?
Just angry. Yeah, I do think they should go to prison. Yeah, I'm just angry with them and sad for the loss.
That sense of anger shared by the man responsible for caring for the tree.
When I first heard that it had been deliberately felled, my initial reaction was anger, and it changed the complexion of what had happened completely then.
The people who are responsible for this, they have to live for the rest of their lives with the knowledge that they have been responsible for this terrible loss.
I would hope that they've seen and heard that huge emotional outpouring as well, and what it's meant to so many people. So yeah, there'll be a lot of people who will feel a lot of anger around this. They're going to have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Megan, and we've been engaged for 5 years.
We were 15 and 16 when we met.
We met at the Metro Centre for our first date. Went to see a film together, then we had some food together.
I think we were quite reserved initially, weren't we?
Yeah, but it was just sort of like we clicked sort of thing, like at first sight, sort of.
Yeah.
At first sight.
we brought out like a confidence in each other, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously that developed as time went on, so
yeah,
I think we'll definitely bring out the best in each other. When I decided that I wanted to propose to Megan, the Sycamore Gap was obviously the place I really wanted it to be special, and that would be the place to do it.
It meant to me the world, because it was so special. The occasion and the location was just amazing.
When I got down on one knee, I tried to make it as special as possible. Everything sort of, came together, cleared up. Nobody around, it was just us two in that moment. It just came all at once while I was down there. Thankfully I said yes.
When it happened, I was very emotional, started crying. Yeah, it was like one of the best days of my life, really.
Throughout this trial, Adam Carruthers and Daniel Graham have denied any involvement with the destruction of this tree. And that means we are still unable to answer the one question that everybody asks me about this crime. Why on earth did they do it? Perhaps it was a sense of shame that drove the two men to arrive for their first court hearing with their faces covered. Now, though, both are unmasked. Best friends who did everything together and who prosecutors say cut down the tree for nothing more than a bit of a laugh. This picture shows Carruthers, who told police he was a car mechanic at his workshop in the Cumbrian village of Kirkbride. In interviews, he said he thought chainsaws were nasty things, despite this picture showing 8 of them right next to him. The jury was told he had a fascination with the tree and had spoken of wanting to cut it down, saying it would be a good trophy. But he claimed in court it was just a tree, and he was surprised the public reacted as if somebody had been murdered. Mr. Carruthers, just wondering what you've got to say for yourself. Towards the end of the trial, as he left court, still trying to hide his face, he had nothing to say to my questions. Do you understand why people are so upset about what happened to this tree? Do you have anything to say at all, Mr. Carruthers? Adam Carruthers using an e-scooter to get away from me as fast as he could. Daniel Graham ran a groundworks company from this compound in the village of Kirkandrews upon Eden, where he lived in a static caravan. He said he and Carruthers regularly teamed up for tree work.
I was surprised it was somebody from Kirkandrews. I couldn't believe that.
To those who live in the village, Daniel Graham is a disgrace.
When you heard about this Sycamore Gap tree being felled, well, you know, where on earth, what are they doing? And how did they prove it? And then to find out that it was a neighbour, wow. No, that's not Kirkandrews.
When you heard that one of the men responsible for cutting down the tree was Daniel Graham, a man who lives in this village, were you surprised?
When the word got round that it was Daniel Graham, then no, he just wasn't part of the community. He was an oddbod, and yeah, he could do the thing like this, I've no doubt at all.
But from the destruction has sprung hope. These saplings, grown by the National Trust from seeds gathered the day after the tree was felled. They're being given to 64 community groups around the country, including the North East Autism Society, just 30 miles from where the tree once stood. Here they help autistic adults to get into work, the sapling a symbol of their mission.
Everybody knows the Sycamore Gap tree, everybody knows the story, and everybody knows the sort of hope attached to these saplings. So I think it will be something that draws people to come and see it. We will absolutely look after it and, you know, make sure that it survives and thrives. But I think it's a great symbol to have as part of this venture, because it is about hope and future for everybody who comes and takes part in the programmes.
The once proud Sycamore Gap tree, now just a stump. Northumbria Police delighted that their meticulous investigation means Daniel Graham and Adam Carruthers have now been brought to justice.
We often hear references to acts of mindless vandalism, but that term has never been more relevant than today in describing the actions of those individuals. At no point have the two men given an explanation as to why they targeted the tree, and there never could be a justifiable one.
The men who felled the tree and shocked the world warned by a judge that they could both face a substantial time behind bars.
You wouldn't believe that the tree was there.
Yeah, right. You've been up here much before?
We came every year since our engagement.
I can totally get why people used to come up here. I can totally get why you got engaged now.
We came with emotion there, seeing it for the first time since.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's emotional.
Yeah, so many good memories. It's not the same. It doesn't have the same feeling as I had before. You get lost in time. You could sit here for hours just taking pictures. It was never the same picture. Same tree, same wall, but different weather, different everything. And it always gave you that feeling that you felt safe up here. And yeah, I don't get that now.
It's really emotional. Obviously, I have really happy memories here of the engagement. And when we rang our families to say that we got engaged, it's devastating what happened to say it like this.
That moment, a special moment between me and Megan. It's almost like stolen away, you know.
It gives us some hope that the shoots are growing and we could take our kids here in the future and grandkids, hopefully. Hopefully it's grow a bit more by then.
Obviously got that snapshot of that moment in our lives, and we've got that moment forever, and we'll share it for generations to come.
Those moments, those memories, the magic of Sycamore Gap, something that cannot be taken away, despite the mindless destruction of Adam Carruthers and Daniel Graham on their Moronic mission.